We need to tell each other our stories. We need to show that everyone, our neighbors, our families, our community leaders, every single person is touched by corruption. So let's all come together to fight this menace that is hindering our development and the progress of our nation. My name is Aisha Muhammad. Welcome to The Eagle.
Imagine a society where everything works. Durable road networks, stable electricity supply, portable water, well-equipped and functional healthcare facilities, quality education for all, affordable housing schemes, social security benefits, job creation, and a lot more that makes life comfortable to live. That is an ideal society. We can only achieve these if we all play our part. Say no to corruption to enjoy these benefits. Kill corruption to save Nigeria. This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Justice Sharifat Sholebo of the Special Offences Court Ikeja, Lagos, has sentenced a serial fraudster Aliyu Zakari to 53 years imprisonment for 17.1 million naira fraud. The convict was prosecuted by the Lagos Zonal Office of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on a 6-count charge bordering on obtaining money by false pretense and stealing, to which he pleaded not guilty. Martha Eche tells us more.
Prosecution counsel Franklin Ofoma, in the course of the trial, invited witnesses and tendered documents that were admitted in evidence by the court, while the defendant testified for himself and had just one witness. Justice Sholebo, in his judgment, convicted the defendant and sentenced him to 10 years imprisonment on counts 1 to 5 and 3 years on count 6. Zakari's journey to prison began after he fraudulently took delivery of some bags worth 17,136,450 naira from his victim, Obiezwono Adaize of Maglotech Inter Limited. During their meeting sometime in 2014, Zakari, who was being investigated for offences bordering on issuance of dot checks, told Adaize, who was also at the Lagos detention facility of the commission, that the Kano state government needed a large supply of trolley bags, shoulder bags, pilot bags and pilot cases valued at 17,136,450 naira. Upon her release from the Commission's holding facility, the victim supplied all the items to Zakari, who did not deliver them to the Kano state government but converted them to his own. Martha Eche, reporting for The Eagle.
Corruption is a cankerworm, na cankerworm. I said na cankerworm, na cankerworm. Corruption don't finish our country. Nigeria women rise up and come together, oh yeah.
Every woman come out, but we fight corruption together, oh. Every woman fall out, but we kill corruption together, oh.
Them they thief our money, send them obodo yibo. Children they suffer every day, better school in no day. Nigeria women come, oh. Women from every sector, make we fight corruption, we won't kill our country. Them go collect money for light, chop the money, light we no see. Good road and good health and call, we no see. I said na cankerworm, oh, na cankerworm, oh.
Join the EFCC in its crusade to rid Nigeria of corruption. Naija, now we all know.
Still from the court. The Lagos Zonal Office of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arraigned a property company, Renacon Properties Development Limited, and its managing director, Babatunde Morakinyo, for allegedly laundering the sum of $1.29 million and 46 million naira, respectively. But before this report, we bring you another report from the court.
A federal high court sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos, has convicted and sentenced one for Larry Olayinka to 5 years imprisonment for possession of counterfeit currency. In a short ruling delivered by Justice Chukwujeku Aneke on behalf of Justice John Tso'o, a former federal high court judge in Lagos jurisdiction, who is now the chief judge of the Federal High Court in Nigeria, the court found the convict guilty on counts 1 and 2 of the charges preferred against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) Lagos Zone and Office, and sentenced him accordingly to 5 years imprisonment on each count. The sentence runs concurrently. The convict was arraigned by the EFCC on a 7-count charge bordering on possession of counterfeit currency and an attempt to export same before Justice Tso'o sometimes in 2010. Upon his arraignment, he pleaded not guilty to the charges and the trial commenced. The prosecution, through its counsel, S.O. Dachi, called for witnesses, including a forensic analyst, and tendered several evidences to prove the guilt of the defendant. Subsequently, the court discharged him on counts 3 to 7 of the same charge. The judge also ordered that the counterfeit currency should be destroyed within 90 days if there is no appeal, and also forfeits the monies found on him to the federal government of Nigeria. The defendants allegedly received the sum of over $1 million and another 46 million naira without notifying the EFCC, as required under Section 5, subsection 1A and 10, subsection 1B of the Money Laundering Act. EFCC counsel Ebuka Okongo told the court that Morakinyo and his firm failed to notify the commission in writing when the transactions, which came in 4 tranches, were made into the accounts of Renokun Properties Development Limited. The transactions were allegedly made between 2013 and 15 in violation of the provisions of the acts. Morakinyo and his firm pleaded not guilty to the charges when it was read to them. Defense counsel Okechukwu Edeze sought a short adjournment to file for bail for his clients. Justice Aikawa granted his prayers and adjourned hearing for bail and trial to October 15, 2020.
Corruption is dishonesty and illegal behavior by people in positions of trust. A public office is a public trust. Do not abuse positions of trust for private gains. Stay away from corruption. Nigeria is a great nation, and it is our responsibility to make the country greater. If you notice any act of corruption, please report to the EFCC via info@efccnigeria.org or call 09 904 4751 or 09 904 4752. You can also call 09 904 4753. This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
According to Wikipedia, cybercrime or computer-oriented crime is a crime that involves a computer and a network. The computer may have been used in the commission of a crime, or it may be the target. Cybercrime may threaten the person or a nation's security and financial health. There are many privacy concerns surrounding cybercrime when confidential information is intercepted or disclosed lawfully or otherwise. Internationally, both governmental and non-state actors engage in cybercrimes, including espionage, financial theft, and other cross-border crimes. Cybercrime crossing international borders and involving the action of at least one nation-state is sometimes referred to as cyber warfare. A report sponsored by McAfee, published in 2014, estimated that the annual damage to the global economy was at $445 billion. So today, on The Eagle, we'll take a look at the dangers of cybercrime among Nigerian youths. This report was compiled by Sani Emmanuel and presented by Martha Echi.
Technology has integrated the world into a global village. A technology research survey indicates that an average person spends more than 6 hours on the internet, while 1/3 of youths consider the internet as important as air, food, shelter, and water. Despite the positive impacts of the internet, cybercriminals have found a fertile ground to strive, and it will continue with new tricks and threats evolving every year as they carry out their criminal activities. What is cybercrime, one may ask? Cybercrime is defined as an illegal or criminal act which involves the use of information and communication technology. These include email spoofing, social spam, social engineering, phishing, cyberbullying, child pornography, cyber hacking, identity theft, credit cards crimes, application counterfeiting, and cyber terrorism, among others.
If you look at ICT, the impact of ICT, it's becoming increasingly important in our daily lives. So it almost affects almost everything, in life. So, like usually the traditional crimes, that we have, so with the advent of internet, almost, it has given opportunity to all those traditional crimes to also, like now have a kind of boost or take another dimension. So we now have, also cyber crimes on the rise. So, if you look at it, it's like kind of proportional. So you have a lot of things dependent on the internet, then you have a rise also in crimes, using the internet, having cybercrime, to be kind of like the leading, say, probably way of, committing all these crimes, both traditional and, the way those that are actually very much technical.
The official annual cybercrime report, ACR, of 2018 shows that cybercrime generates around $1.5 trillion per year, and it is expected to cost $6 trillion per year by 2021. Meanwhile, in 2018, almost 700 million people were victims of some type of cybercrime.
If you look at the way the internet crime is rising, usually the main target is the human angle, because it's the weakest link. So I think the most important thing is for us as individuals, we have to constantly be aware of what is going on. Study the environment, whatever you do, you should be careful. If you look at like now the phishing attack, which is the most successful form of social engineering, that usually the hackers or the cyber criminals exploit, has three components or steps. The first one is to mimic, the web, site, they set it up. That is the first step they go, which usually with the free resources, with Google search and all that, you can do a search and get that. Now the second step is to write convincingly, fake email, to the target or victim. And usually this is the most difficult for the hacker. So now as an individual, if you look at it, you see that about 8 out of 10 of those emails, have grammatical errors. So what you do is when you see an email that you're not sure, you go over and over and over it. If you find that somewhat is, there are grammatical errors, chances are, it is trying to lure you into, probably revealing certain information that you're not supposed to, release, and then thereby being a target, of cyber criminals. Of course, the last, if they are able to get that, if you click on the link or something like that, or you reveal your information, then I can now redirect you to the real email. Usually you are familiar with what is happening with all these business compromise emails, that usually you'll be sent an email that your account, will be closed if you don't act immediately. So there's a kind of sense of desperation, if you go through it. So things like that, you have to avoid it as individual. And then for the organization, of course, you have to invest massively on IT infrastructure, especially with security inclination. And then you have to also, invest in training your personnel so that they will be aware. Because, like I said earlier, human target usually is the weakest link. So you have to invest in training. But of course, not only that, you have to, put in place technical and administrative controls. You invest in the hardware, and then the administrative controls. You bring out policies. Say probably like no system should be used without antivirus. It's an administrative control. But the technical one is, to bring out infrastructure that are, security aware, kind of,
What could possibly be the cause of cybercrime among youths? Statistics gathered show that poor parenting, poverty, harsh economic conditions, greed, emotional behavioral disorder (EBD), peer pressure, unemployment, negative role models, poor educational system have contributed to the massive involvement of youths in cybercrime.
As we all know, the use of computers and electronic devices has permeated all aspects of our lives. So virtually you find cybercrime in all aspects of our lives, from education to e-commerce to trade, education, and even how we socialize. So because of this prevalence of the use of computers and electronic devices, people with criminal intention have taken advantage of the ease which the use of these electronic devices has brought into our lives to commit crimes. A lot of young men see it as an opportunity to make easy money. Because of the influence, they see it as an easy way of making money. You understand? So more and more of our youth tend to get involved in these cybercrimes.
For the growth and development of any emerging nation, there should be an enabling environment for people to go about their daily activities without being harassed on the social media space. Nigerian youths are hereby discouraged from engaging in cybercrime as it affects the image and corporate identity of the country. Weak and fragile laws regarding cybercriminals should be strengthened, including the acquisition of relevant infrastructures and regular update of technologies to tackle the menace of cybercrimes. We are also advised to be cautious of the kind of information we circulate the cyberspace with and to stay informed by seeking knowledge about new cyber tricks and securities.
There are more opportunities for making legitimate earnings in the cyberspace than there are for committing these crimes. It's just that to build a business takes time. And these young men are looking for what? Shortcuts. You find out that people are making money in designing apps. People are making money, you understand, in setting up e-commerce platforms. People are making money designing websites. They are making money. But these young men mostly want the short route to making money. They don't want to go through the process of acquiring the proper knowledge, you understand, establishing a platform, working to make it profitable, you understand, and all of that. They are only interested in how do I get money now.
Nigerians are advised to be vigilant and smart. Report all suspects to the EFCC and other appropriate authorities as this kind of offense is punishable under the Cybercrime Act 2015. Anyone found guilty will be liable to imprisonment for a term of not more than 7 years or a fine of not more than 7 million naira or both. Martha Eche for The Eagle.
Thank you, Martha, for that report. Before we wrap up today's episode of The Eagle, we still want you to enjoy this musical interlude which still talks about cybercrime. We should stay off it.
I got to be this. Mama dog, who you know, yeah. Papa dog, who you know, yeah. Community beg you, you know, green. EFCC got you, then you go, yeah. Mama dog, who you know, yeah. Papa dog, who you know, yeah. Community beg you, you know, green. EFCC got you, then you go, yeah. The checks is on you. Nemesis go catch up with you. The eagle is watching you. EFCC go expose you. The checks is on you. Nemesis go catch up with you. The eagle is watching you. EFCC go expose you. The checks is on you. Brother, the checks is on you. Sister, unemployment is not a criteria. You dupe somebody from Liberia, creating bad image for Nigeria. Now Yahoo, Yahoo be your career. Mama dog, who you know, yeah. Papa dog, who you know, yeah. Community beg you, you know, green. EFCC got you, then you go, yeah. Mama dog, who you know, yeah. Papa dog, who you know, yeah. Community beg you, you know, green. EFCC got you, then you go, yeah. The checks is on you. Nemesis go catch up with you. The eagle is watching you. EFCC go expose you. The checks is on you. Nemesis go catch up with you. The eagle is watching you. EFCC go expose you. If you see something, say something. EFCC go do something. See something, say something. EFCC go do something. Enough is enough. Yes, enough is enough. Justice for one is justice for all. And I am me. We not agree, we not agree. Nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the law. Enough is enough. Wait till that. Making Nigeria better. Wait. Calm down.
Well, it is our hope that cybercrime and all corrupt practices will be a thing of the past. And that's how we end today's episode of The Eagle. You too can be part of this program by sending your enquiries, suggestions, and even your contributions to The Eagle at efccnigeria.org, or send your petitions to info@efccnigeria.org. My name is Aisha Muhammad. I leave you with these parting words from Dennis Preda, who said, "Corruption is Africa's greatest problem, not poverty, not lack of riches, not racism. So let's all do our part to see corruption is brought to its barest minimum." Goodbye, God bless Nigeria, and please do stay safe.